because that's how. Okay, back down there. I love it, Eric. That's awesome.
Hello, little children.
You cute. Okay, so I just have to start by saying how glad I am to see you, you beautiful, beautiful thing.
Well, it's wonderful to see you too. Or what am I supposed to do?
Great. Well, I would like you, you cutie.
Wait a minute. Right before this, I thought you had me starting on page 17.
Well, Eric Riley, page 25 to 32.
Okay, 25 to 32, not 17 to 25.
No, nice try, buddy.
Okay, 25. Yeah, because I was reading over it. So now I've read over the wrong thing. No matter.
Are you okay with talking as if you're reading to kids?
Yeah, I guess. Scrooge then remembered to have heard that ghosts in haunted houses were described as dragging chains. Okay.
Oh, Eric. Oh, Eric, that was that was just wonderful. I absolutely loved it. You started to shake the computer.
Well, it's like yeah.
Did so great. You did great.
So I was reading the part leading up to the ghost, not this part. So that was cold. I had not written that. I had not read that.
Well, that's amazing to me. Amazing.
But I'm just like, okay, how can we make them sound different? Because they're different people. And who is Scrooge and how can they discern who's Scrooge and who's Marley and who's talking to who? But at least it's a conversation only between the two of them.
Right.
So you didn't have to do too much.
You did great. Perfect. Just perfect. These words, I mean, some of them are very tongue twistery.
But they really are.
Yeah. And also, I mean, it was written in the mid over 100 years ago. So
it's a different language.
Yeah.
It's like if you're trying to speak Shakespeare or a dialect of any kind, it's a different language, which is why when you sent it, I thought, well, at the very least, I should read what part of it I'm going to have to read. And I read the wrong part.
Yeah. But I can't believe how well you did. I was just in awe. I was like, oh my God, look at him go.
And I was like, okay, go.
On one hand, if I was wishing you could hear me because I was laughing. I mean, they were wonderful. It just is great. And I'm so thrilled. Thank you very much.
Did my hands stay in the frame when I was doing all that, like, because if you were reading it, you would be doing that, making, spooky noises and
it's so wonderful. I mean, if I were a kid, I'd be like,
oh my God. Well, there's so many songs when I'm reading it, because I've done different versions of A Christmas Carol. But my favorite one was the musical that oh God, why am I blanking on his name? I can see him. Alan Menken wrote.
Oh.
Yeah. And so it's the one we did at Madison Square Garden.
Huh.
But the song Link by Link is Marley's song, and I wanted to play that so bad.
Oh.
But they weren't casting Black Eyes as Marley's ghost. It was just
it's too bad. It's a shame. Yeah.
I wanted to do that just because they did. He was flying, all the other ghosts were flying. I was a ghost, but I was land bound, because you were in every number, every number. So it was a hard show to do. I lost 8 pounds doing it because we did as many as 17 shows a week.
And I didn't even know that you had ever done A Christmas Carol before.
Yeah, 2 years in a row.
How great. And what year?
Yeah.
Remember what years? We don't
94, 95, I believe.
Wow.
Alan Menken and Lynn, Stephen Flaherty and Lynn. I remember Stephen's last name. They wrote Once on This Island. Lynn wrote the lyrics. Alan Menken wrote the music. There's some pretty stuff in it. Some nice songs and stuff. If you pull it up, I don't know, maybe you could pull it up and listen to it. I'm on it because it's an original recording album, but you wouldn't hear me because I don't have solos in it, but I'm singing on it.
Wow.
You know,
I will pull it up. Maybe I
yeah.
don't know if I can
You
copyright.
probably can't use it though, because it's not
Yeah.
public domain. So, but you get a sense of, because all of the people had their own songs, like so the ghost, Marley's ghost, sang that link by link, my chain is getting longer, link by link,
Uh,
and more than you think, link by link. It was like kind of fun, yeah. And then everybody goes, oh, it's like all of that. And then there's a whole chain dance.
love it.
It
I,
even actually snowed in the theater.
wow.
Yeah, I have plenty of kids who are grown people now who saw that show way back then, and they still cannot forget it because it only snowed in like the first 10 rows of the theater.
Oh, wow.
So, if you got the tickets for them, they sat in the snow. So, so all of a sudden it's snowing and everybody's singing, let the stars in the sky remind us of the compassion.
Well, you really got the flavor of all the characters perfectly.
It's hard to read.
Yeah, it is. It's hard.
It's like, and so to be going forward and knowing that you're trying to do something that's descriptive, like because he's written it in such a descriptive way. And then it's not just descriptive about where you are and what you're seeing, but the people and the everything. It's all descriptive.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of language around the description that's not the dialogue. So now when you read it, because I've never read it before, so now reading it, I see how you pull the productions out of it because you can visually put on the stage the descriptions
Yeah. Yeah.
and you leave that out. Or you put the description in the song, or, and you can take out all this other prose. So that's how they get these short productions of it, I guess.
I didn't even know there had been a musical of A Christmas Carol.
Yeah, it surprises me why more people don't know
Yeah.
that, because they put it in the Paramount at Madison Square Garden or the theater at Madison Square Garden so that it could continuously run every year. And I don't know if they stopped doing it because it got too expensive or what, because it was a huge cast of people. And even when I did it the first time, I did 8 different roles. So,
Wow.
and it's a 2-block pass through, crossover from 32nd Street to 34th Street in the back of the theater. So if you went off on stage left, you had to go 2 blocks to get to the other side of the stage. And so sometimes I had costume changes in a freight elevator.
No wonder you lost 8 pounds.
Yeah. I was wearing a fat suit for like fezziwigs
Wow.
and lifting tables with people on them. And, it was just all that. Susan Stroman was involved. It was just like, it was a maniacal thing, maniacal.
No wonder people who are involved in theater are smart. It's a better education. You get the guts of characters and why they act how they do, and well, you're making a study of so many facets of life all the time in a really deep way.
In a really deep way. It's interesting that all books speak to me in my head like that. So it's like those characters are alive and you see them and they have voices, and the descriptive things make you see where they are and what's going on.
Yeah.
And, just all of that, what's going on inside. Good writers can describe all of that. And so that's what they say. The characters come alive on the page. They like leap off of the page into your imagination and become something else,
Yeah.
living, breathing things.
In your reading. Honestly, between you and me, um, I've had a lot going on, as we all do in the world today, and I didn't get a chance to read ahead. And I thought, well, I'll give this a go, and then if it's terrible, I can read it again. And I just went with it. And it was choppy and blah blah, but at times the words just took over.
Yeah. Well, you see, for me, the same thing happened. At times, it was just going.
Yeah.
And then you would realize that, oops, those two words, you left those out as you move to the next place, but just keep going.
Yeah.
And that slows you, and then you can go back into it again.
Yeah.
But you don't stop every time.
I mean, I did, but
Well, that's because you were doing the filming and you could do that and stop and say,
yeah.
okay, I'll go back, I'll start here. I just thought, well, just let me barrel through it and see if I can get through it.
Oh, you did great.
Wow, I hope it's usable.
Oh my God. Of course it is. Now, do you want to hear about what happened with the relative of Dickens thing?
All I know is what you wrote, that she's going to read it and that he was a UU, you found out.
Can you believe that?
I mean, who knew? I can believe it. How did you get into where did that?
It's such a meant to be, this whole weird thing. Okay, so I'm at church on Sunday on Zoom, and I was just gonna do a joy about this fun thing that we had done, me and the ladies playing dress ups at the church and working on this song of Pavia's, right?
Right, you were saying that.
Right. But right before that, I had this inspiration. And I mean, it was out of the blue. Like, let's read a Christmas Carol. I don't know what
You said that too. I was like, what?
I know. And it's like, oh, it should, okay. I mean, like something took over. Really. It was just like, we're doing this. I don't know. And so
And you
then,
just put it out there and everybody said, sure.
right. And then when Greg backed out, it was like, oh, who am I going to get? Who am I going to get? And I really want guys because, more male voices is a great thing.
Why did Dave back out? The same reason Greg backed out.
Yeah. Chicken shits.
I know. That's why. It's like, that's all.
Yeah, that's
Because
all. Perfectionism is a devil.
it is.
Yeah.
It really is. I've been teaching that to myself. You
Yeah.
know,
I
it's
know.
a hard lesson to learn.
Monkey on my back forever, but I'm obviously getting over it.
Yeah, well, me too. You see, it's just there was a time I would have just said, "Oh no, I can't do that."
I'm so glad you did.
It's just not. It's like, well, it won't be perfect.
Right.
It's like,
Right. And do you think kids care? I hope kids
no.
really enjoy this,
Well, I wonder how do you plan to get them to it?
Well, for starters, I'm just going to post it to YouTube and share with my Facebook friends. So it'll be on the YouTube and ask people to share it with young people. Just ask them to you know, because I think they'll want to. And hopefully through the sharing and word of mouth and social media, it'll catch on. But
Yeah,
okay,
I mean, it's interesting when you think about kids, you don't think about them actually being read to so much anymore.
right.
I mean, why wouldn't you still like that? Do they still yell if you take away their iPad when they go to bed and say, well, let's read a story? Or
Right.
I don't even know.
I don't know, but I mean, honestly, I guess it was a little selfish on my part too, because I thought I want to read the classics and this will be a way that'll be fun to do it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
You just brought it up and you probably couldn't see your own face, but you could read what you were reading.
Right. I couldn't see me,
Yeah. Oh
you
boy,
know,
you're gonna
which
be
was
happy. You're a
was
handsome
probably
fella.
better.
When you see it,
That
you're gonna be like, damn, look at me, I'm good looking.
so the story makes sense. You go back and listen and make sure it makes sense.
I will, it does. I was listening. I was drawn right. I was like, oh my God, this is so awesome. It really, I was drawn into the story. Um, anyway, so just the end of the thing that happened. Um, I remembered that 10 years ago, I didn't even realize it had been that long. I was involved in a production at Theater 80 with a fellow who he was doing Dickens Christmas for the Rockaways. He was doing a fundraiser for Hurricane Sandy survivors.
Mhm.
So he looped in a friend of his, who's this girl Lucinda Hawksley from London, who is the relative of Dickens. And so I produced it and I was working with them and I was a performer in it and things. So we did a good job and raised some money. And I completely forgotten all about it. And I just reached out to her. I said, I know it's a long shot, but we're doing this. And she got right back in touch and mentioned she would read. She's reading in a few days. I'm seeing if Naomi will mind if she reads the end. Naomi's probably going to mind. And so then she writes me back and said, did you know that Dickens became a Unitarian after his visit to the United States? I thought maybe
This is outrageous.
I know.
I mean, somehow it is. It's like a kind of little blessing nugget or something from somewhere. So Dickens dropped in your head. It turns out that you actually worked with this woman and she's going to actually read as part of this.
Yep.
Could it get any better?
No.
Other than to take the whole thing and broadcast it at the take the whole thing and have UU's reading the Christmas Carol at the Orpheum or something.
That'd be fun.
and we can all come and see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I had even said to someone, maybe Naomi, but like, you can't get a lot more Unitarian than A Christmas Carol in terms of its meaning.
no.
And
Caring, sharing, helping, loving, no. And trying to teach other people that that's all you need to do and everything will work out just fine. So yeah, basically, I never thought about it, but you know, I did when I started reading. I thought, oh yeah, it's that kind of humanitarian tale for Christmas. That's why people do it every year and tell it every year.
I got chills when you read the part about that the oh God, the ghost with the safe around his ankle.
Yeah, with the safe that he recognized and how he was trying to help the mother and child on the stoop that were freezing to death. Because prior to all of that, that's when I read the first part that I thought I was going to read. I was like, okay, you have to make them realize how cold it is because it's very cold. The water is freezing coming out of the pump for the, you know, for the fire. They can't put out the fire. And poor people are standing in front of it to get warm because they have nowhere to go. You know, it's all of that.
Yeah.
And then I thought I was going to get to do the, are there no workhouses? No prisons? So,
Hi, Dana.
you hear Greg?
What?
Greg is hollering to you. He says, hi, Dana.
Hi, sweetie pie. I'm sorry if you were stressed. I still love you to the moon.
Well, I'm sorry I'm not going to do it, but I can't. I can't compete with YouTube in the actor category.
You and your pearls reading to children would be heartrending. But it's okay. It's okay, dear. We love you. It's all right. What a treat to spend some time with you guys. And I just adore you.
We adore you too. When will you be back on the Cape?
I believe I'll be there for the 18th.
Well, we might be there by then.
That would be great.
I don't want to be in the service though, so let's not bring it up.
No, I won't. Nope, I won't.
All
But,
right.
and I'll even try to behave if we get to sit together. Right.
Well, we won't if you're participating in the service, because you'll have to be close to the front.
I don't know, Eric.
Oh Lord, what a mess. You and that woman, the two of you bad girls.
And Greg,
call you out.
I'm trying to listen in church, please.
I even chose the red chair for the reading.
You look really Christmassy. I love that shade of blue, and it's almost like a purpley blue.
Yeah, it's almost purpley blue. It's a very old sweater. Greg gave it to me 100 years ago, back when we used to ski.
I'm gonna definitely cut in the lower half of it. For da, 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 da. Ooh.
Hi.